So usually I give the location by by phone number because it doesn't, I don't want like an overwhelming people showing up there. So it's best if people call if they're serious about coming for, I give 10-minute free consultation.
Okay. And do you have your immigration rundown? Or
I do.
yes. All right. I hear it's been a crazy week of immigration law news. I haven't been able to keep track, but I'm sure you were able to.
Well, since we are heading to a presidential election year, um, people would like to know where does immigration fall in reference to importance in what people believe are the most important issues. So you know, I read in this article published by American Immigration Council that immigration tops economy as most important issue for Latino voters. So this is just for Latino voters. I'll just give you a rundown. According to a poll released this week, U.S. immigration policy beat out economic and jobs as the issue most important for Hispanic voters.
And that's a group of
The
people
poll,
that a lot of the politicians are seeking to gain their vote this election cycle. So that's why we're seeing more politicians talk about that in the news recently.
yes. So 51% uh, of the 500 registered Hispanic voters that they asked this question said immigration was their number one top issue. Uh, 35% said the economy and jobs, and 15% said education. So this is why you see Obama and the other candidates who will be running for office, why they would, it's very important to get to his Latino votes, why this is going to be, immigration is going to be a major focus for them in the upcoming months. I see it already with Obama trying to, you know, um, discuss some immigration reform. We haven't really seen anything concrete, but it is pretty good that he's actually finally focusing on immigration.
Yeah, and what do you think? What kind of laws do you think would actually improve, the nation's immigration policies? Do you have any idea of what kind of laws you think would help?
I'm sorry, the name slips mine. What was that? The the one that you wrote an article about a couple
The
of
Dream
months ago.
Act.
The Dream Act. Yes, I think that's something that has been turned down, denied many times. I believe that's something that should be approved.
The problem that some people
What?
have with the Dream Act is they feel like people shouldn't be forced to either enlist in the reserve army or be forced to join the Peace Corps in order to get that get that protection under the Dream Act.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel if it's something that everyone has to enlist in the selective service. Everyone who's 18 who's going to school. So I don't see that as that much of a issue. How do you have a feeling on that?
You don't see it that much. You don't see the Dream Act as an issue.
No, I don't. The problem that some people have with the Dream Act is that it's forcing people are forced to either enlist in the Army Reserves or in the Selective Service or join the Peace Corps and do some
Oh,
or
okay.
show certain community service work. And I don't see that as an issue. It's the law is something that's it's gonna I feel like it's gonna help, and these are certain things that you might have to, take on if you do want the protection of this new potential law.
Well, I mean, you already have immigrants joining the military,
Yeah,
so you know if they join the military, what's the problem?
I don't know. This is just, some people have issues. I just guess some people, a lot of people find issues with anything. There's a lot of complainers in this world, I think. But I think it's a great law, and I hope that it gets passed sooner than later. I think it'll be a great boost to the immigrant morale and the movement.
Yes, I believe so too.
Is there any other immigration news that you saw this week, or any international news? Because international news kind of links in with immigration news. So anything that's going on in other nations, it it kind of like links to the immigration. You know,
I mean,
what's that?
a lot of the, a lot of international news.
You're breaking up here.
I believe ties with asylum already. A lot of the international news, especially the different type of conflicts, military conflicts that are going on, like in Syria. Syria right now, we all see what's going on. So there's a huge refugee issue. There's a lot of refugee camps being set up in Turkey. So what with that type of thing going on, most likely what you may see is a rise of asylum and refugee seekers from Syria, even in this country. Um, you also see what's going on in Libya. Just different parts of the world. That's anytime you see issues like that, you always going to have a high refugee and you know and also a high asylum uh, um, people seeking asylum and refugee. So you have a high rate of refugee and asylum seekers.
Okay. Um, and I know like some of the countries that were in some political turmoil, it's kind of died down. Uh, but people still are seeking asylum from those nations. Like, is it something that's still viable for those people to seek asylum from those nations, or has their window of opportunity kind of closed?
No, you should you should still file for asylum. Case in point, a country like Ivory Coast. Should you just not have filed because okay, the conflict is dying down, but you know that there's still going to be issues there, especially people who do not support the current president of the Ivory Coast. Um, so I believe you should still, you know, it's still fresh. Um, you should still file for an asylum, even though conflict has died down. Case in point, I had a lady from Ivory Coast. Um, she she is my client, and she filed for a withholding, which some of you may know is like an asylum, but it doesn't have the 1 year mark. You can file for a withholding at any time, and you really just need to prove future persecution, not past or present persecution like asylum. And basically, going back to the lady, she filed for the withholding years later after the first conflict that in the Ivory Coast, ended. And, her basis was there was still a lot of rapes occurring there from the military, you know, and nobody in the government, nobody in the government was doing anything about it. So she came from an area, and her family comes from an area where 7 out of 10 women are being raped or molested or abused, sexually abused. And, you know, so she filed for this a couple of years later. She didn't file for it when it just happened. So these are the things that still occur even after a war has died down. You know, it's so it's still advisable for one to still seek asylum even after a war has died down or a war has ended.
Okay. I guess that kind of wraps up our time today. Yes, Yai, would you like to give a rundown of the office location and number again?
147 Prince Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11201. Our website is uwalaw.com.
Correct.
My email is iuwalaw@gmail.com. My phone number is 347-365-3869.
Correct. And the Atlanta office again is 4350 Georgetown Square, and that's Suite 725. That's in Atlanta, Georgia. The phone number is 678-466-7932. And my email address is ehiuwa at uwalaw.com. And again, you could go to the website uwalaw.com. And again, there's a free phone consultation and a $50 in-person consultation. And that $50 again goes towards your retainer fee if you retain us for your case. Yai, I want to thank you again for another rousing episode of Immigration Talk. It's great information. Would you like to say goodbye?
Goodbye and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you.
Yes, we did tape this on Sunday. We'll be airing on Tuesday. So thank you guys for listening, and come back next week. Thank you.